Hello,
Hi,
I'm Kelly.
I'm Allie.
This is Allie, and we are here at Kansas City Wide Open Week, and we're going to give you a preview. We'll talk a little bit about Music City as well. But I think to start us off today, Allie, do you want to give us some context on where we are?
Yeah.
We're not in our two chairs.
We're not in our two chairs. We're on one couch today. We're in my parents' basement. We're kind of at my home where I grew up, went to high school. Yeah, home.
Yeah, I wish everyone could see what I was looking at. Like, this is super cool. So, of course, thank you for inviting me into your home.
Of course. It's quite the opposite of what's behind us.
Like just a
Beige wall, right.
yes.
Lots of
Oh, yeah,
stuff,
what we're
things.
looking at, yes.
Right.
So, sorry, audience, you're not going to get the view. But some of the stuff I'm looking at are certainly some trophies of Allie's, some cool pictures, and just like what you would expect of like a place that someone grew up in. So. Kansas City is your home, but more specifically, the Liberty area.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. So where we're playing this weekend is Allie's home course.
Mm-hmm. Where I learned to play disc golf.
Yeah, where you learn to play disc golf. So do you want to tell a little bit about, like, sort of where it all started for you in the Kansas City area and just give a little bit of context of where Allie Smith's got her start in disc golf?
Yeah, right on. Where we're playing, Stocksdale Park, Bad Rock Creek, is where I learned to play disc golf. I actually ran cross country there before it existed as a disc golf course. Yeah, it's I would make it through like 7 holes and be exhausted.
Oh
it's
my
a
gosh. I feel so validated right now. I had no idea you were going to say that. I feel so validated. When I started playing, I could not make it. Victor Ash in Knoxville, Tennessee, if anyone knows. I made it through 5 holes. I'd be so mad.
So mad, tired. I've tried so hard to get this disc to like fly, and all it does is like hook left.
No,
It's like, this is awful. Why are we doing this? How do people do this? Somehow stuck with it, kept playing.
Still be out there every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What further? What did I answer the question?
Yeah. So you started playing disc golf. How did you learn about it? Did you like see one of the courses in the area, or like was disc golf kind of always a thing in your life?
No. So Ultimate Frisbee in Missouri State is kind of where I started my disc career, flying Frisbees. Actually, the first day of college, I do a little club thing, and I went to the disc golf club because it was I didn't really find the Ultimate group, but I found the disc golf committee. We went and played around, and again, hated it. That was the first time I'd ever thrown an actual disc instead of just an Ultimate disc, and I was like, oh, I'm never doing this, and didn't return to disc golf until maybe 8 years later. So
wow. Okay.
I had known about disc golf and what it was, but didn't have any desire to do it. It is vastly different than Ultimate, but then it was like I graduated, got a little older, and was like, what's a fun downtime hobby?
Right.
And that was it. So
Nice. So you also have quite the history with the Kansas City Wide Open.
yes.
She is your 2023 DGPT Silver Series winner at Kansas City Wide Open.
Yes.
Not the first time you won the tournament, though, actually.
No, so there's that
Oh,
Silver
yeah, there you
Series.
go.
Got to bring it in. Yep.
Yeah, so this is the first time winning FPO in Kansas City Wide Open.
Yeah.
You've also won on the AM side
Yes.
of the event.
Oh
Yeah, there we go.
38th.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
2018?
Yeah. No. Is that? No. 2020.
2020.
I saw the 18 there.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense. 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The number in.
I can read the numbers. I was just reading the right one.
FA2, so that's like my first tournament ever. Played FA2 and won it as an AM.
Casual.
Right.
Our first tournament, no big deal. Yeah, so it's got to feel good winning your home course, of course. The Kansas City Wide Open tournament in general has progressed, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I want to talk about 2023. I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
For anyone that's not watched the coverage, go watch it after you finish this.
Yeah, pause.
Go watch that coverage, especially the final round. It is so entertaining, and you want to talk about being on the edge of your seat the whole time. Was very, very interesting to sort of watch it play out.
Definitely a roller coaster of a tournament, and really specifically that third and final round.
Yeah, so I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but going into the final round, just for everyone that hasn't seen it, you had 3 strokes, 3-stroke lead going into the final round.
Yes.
Over Lisa Fakis.
Correct.
After the front 9, she had made up 5 strokes.
Yeah.
You're no longer in the lead.
Correct.
Right?
2 back.
What were you thinking after, like, going into the second 9, the back 9, Did you think you still had a chance? Did you think you were out of it? I mean, you'd only lost you'd lost 5 strokes, but you were only 2 back.
Right. I actually remember like asking Mary, my caddy, like how many back was I? I knew I had given up a lot and knew that I was behind. And I think Mary, she might have even told me 3, but like 2 or 3, I knew it wasn't like completely out of the way. And I just know how many birdies are available at Bad Rock and how many times I've played the course. I really just felt so comfortable. And really my mindset that year, I was so fresh on tour, very new, just excited at the opportunity to play disc golf at home. All of my major sponsors that day were like at the course following me. So like I get goosebumps thinking about it, just like how emotional it was and how cool of an opportunity I had. And I just kept remembering that and just kept playing disc golf. We didn't really like look at the scores. I'm sure Mary was, but like I didn't really know the scores or look at it.
Yeah.
I was really just like, how can I execute this hole, the next hole, moving forward, and just really trying to stay in the disc golf round, not necessarily in the hunt.
Sure.
So to lower that stress
not
level.
turning it into like a match play type thing.
Right,
yeah.
Just
so we get to 13. You've tied it back up with Lisa.
Yeah, a couple birdies.
Yeah.
Really
and so
confidence up.
Yeah, you got a couple birdies going into 13. You've tied it back up. You guys stay tied.
Yes.
And then going into 17.
Right.
So you finish 17, 18 par birdie.
Correct.
And Lisa unfortunately finishes double and then triple.
Right. And the triple was forced, like she had to start going for shots to get close to the, obviously to win, but also then for the second and third place finish there. 16, 17, 18 are really tough, challenging holes if you make them more than what they are. And I, like I said, I was able to just play disc golf and like have a good time and execute the hole and not, I got to get birdie, I got to get par. And by doing so, I was able to get the par and get the birdie.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of 16, 17, 18, we kind of saw that last year. So, I mean, credit to Lisa, right? She sort of floundered. Allie came in there and clutched up and got the job done.
Yep.
But Lisa came back last year and ended up winning in a very similar fashion to the way that she lost, right?
Correct.
She was battling against Olin Scoggins last year, and they kind of had a similar ending as well, where Lisa came out on top.
Great redemption story for Lisa. Like, and it shows that she, like, is definitely one to be a contender for this event this week. I would say, like, I know that she knows the course and her skills, so like I'm gonna be looking at Lisa this week.
Yeah, you didn't play last year due to injury.
Actually, my uncle passed away.
Oh,
and it was
sorry.
it was his time to go. So sorry to drop that on you.
I thought it was something with your finger or like.
So at that, it was actually kind of a wind of. I had warts on my finger.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
No,
and I'm not insensitive, and I care deeply about Allie and her family.
Combination. I had warts, so I was like, well, I can get these fixed now that I can't play the event. I had a few weeks off, so that was going on. Definitely would not have been able to play, but also I was like, went to the funeral and was able to be there with the family, and it was a great. Like, not great, because you don't want anyone to pass away, but like the circumstance of getting to go instead of being like in California and not being able to be there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So sorry about that.
Right.
So you didn't play last year.
No.
And this is kind of your first time coming back since winning.
Yes.
You talked about playing freely and just playing golf, and I'm sure it being your home course, like, sort of helps the familiarity of the course and stuff.
Yes.
But I think the opposite could be true, right? Where this is your home course, you're so familiar, like you're, the local favorite and, all these things. And coming in last time having played one, is there any pressure there this week?
Definitely. And I think that I've been aware of it since like last week. And I know that there's a lot that is going on during this week of like filming things, like getting practice rounds in. I've got match play on Thursday. But I am really just latching on to the fact of like, I've been here 100 times in good weather, in bad weather. And I remember that it's like, I do this to have fun. And that's what I'm expecting to do regardless of like, if I win, if I don't win.
Right.
Odds are I don't win based on, there's one of me and 40 other women. But like, I'd still bet on me. Like, I really know that I know the course. I know where not to be. And so if everything can be lined up together, I've got a great shot. So
that's the energy we like.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Bet on Allie Smith.
Yeah.
Is
good
that
news.
like insider trading if we were like collaborating
FanDuel.
with the people? We're not in cahoots with any of you betting.
No.
But if you're going to bet, Allie's a good one.
Yeah.
So when you won, you played a 965 rated event. You shot one down.
Overall, one down. Okay.
Yeah, overall for the event, one down.
Right.
I know the course has changed a little bit. It probably is playing a little bit softer now in terms of score relative to par. But in terms of rating, score, what do you think it's going to take this week to take it down?
Right, we've got 3 rounds. If we were under ideal conditions, I would say I think we can see 12 down overall, and that could be not high. It could be more under par.
Yeah.
You know, like we've
Approaching
got
15 or
we've got
something.
Owen, we've got Holland, Ella here. Like we could see 15, 16. I know that I can see Holland always likes to pop off round 2 and get 10, 11 down. I don't know what that'll be in terms of rating, though. Rating is kind of skewed with the PDGA. It depends on who's the highest and who's the lowest, and how do those two people and everyone else shoot in regards to each other.
Yeah. And I think Holland's highest rated in the field this week.
She's in the 990 club officially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Shout out Holland.
Yeah. Right.
But you're certainly missing some of the higher rated, which may skew the, not to discount the field or anything. We still have a very strong field, but in terms of the rating and how it's gonna play, it could certainly skew that a little bit.
I think it is going to rain, and with this type of course, like ground footing is crucial for some of those birdies. Not all of them.
A lot of elevation.
Yes, a lot of elevation, but there is a lot of par 3s that you'll be fine if you get off the tee. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna say 12 down takes it home. I don't know what it'll be rated. I'm gonna say maybe just flat 1,000.
Yeah.
Like I don't think
seems to be the trend. Like you have to hit that 1,000 mark to win. Or
I think that's where the FPO is definitely at and been at the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back and look at what that.
I love and hate at the same time. I love for the strength of the FPO field, but we've got a long way to go. So, the history of the Kansas City Wide Open is something else that I think is very interesting because it does feel like an event and a course that people are familiar with. And maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you guys let us know if this is, you're just now coming to hear about this event or watching it. But it feels like we've heard about it a lot, like in recent years.
Yes.
But this is actually the first year that it's a DGPT Elite Series event.
Yeah, first Elite Series. The Kansas City community has been working day and night to make this work. Yeah, like to get this on the Pro Tour. It's been like a long, probably 5+ year plan to get Bad Rock to where it's at, and like the community and like the City of Liberty's really also like put in a lot of probably volunteer hours as well, but a lot of like partnership into making the Saturday like Fly Mart a big like thing in the downtown Liberty area. Like there is a lot that the community's done to bring this Elite Series here. I was new to disc golf, so I'm not sure about, was it on the national tour?
I didn't see anything on the national tour. I looked back to 2021. It was a B tier that year across several courses.
So that would have been, when I played as an AM.
Yeah.
We were at three courses.
2022 was an A tier, which looked like the first year it was just at Bad Rock. And then it was a Silver Series event, which is when you played.
Yep.
And then last year was a Q Series event.
So
which
an
actually,
A tier?
Yeah, an A tier.
That makes it an A tier, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then this year it's an Elite Series. So I'm very excited to see like if anything has changed. I think it was last year was a stellar event. The team did a great job.
Yep.
It felt Pro Tour standards to me personally last year. So I'm excited to see if they elevate it, how and what that looks like.
I think course aside, I think we always think of like, oh, can this course be on the Pro Tour? There's so many more things to look at and think about. Is like where are you going to park all of the spectators?
Yep.
Field is a great option, but like if you can have a place where they can park in concrete in a parking lot, that's great. And like
as we learned in Nashville.
Yes, and like we're able to do that and shuttle them in. The shuttle's not always the best, but it's a great option. They have an amazing warm-up area. They have a great like viewing opportunity for the VIPs and the general admission. You still get to see a lot without having the separation of tickets.
The elevation helps with that, with the viewing experience.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's set up nicely.
Right. So I think like the course overall, like the location offers a lot that the Pro Tour events need. Yeah. And then on top of that, it has like a pristine, great course to play.
Yeah, really like the course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the course has a lot to offer. I think the Pro Tour, one thing that they are doing is they're certainly taking full advantage of the week in the disc golf community here in the Kansas City, Liberty area. And they're offering, there's a lot of what I call extracurriculars going on this week, it feels like. It's a little like, I feel like we're being hit from all sides of all these things going on, which maybe as someone in the area, if you're thinking about coming, like is great. But just a few of them are match play.
Yeah, they rescheduled them a few, not all of the match plays. I think two groups, 2 of the 4 groups. Not everyone obviously is at this event, so but it's got some of them rescheduled. So I'm excited.
Nice.
I get to play on Thursday.
Oh, excited!
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch.
A little advantage for me, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Which I don't know. Dan Carey's best putter so far this year.
Exactly.
On tour,
so I need it.
Yeah,
Like straight, I'll take it.
It'll be a good match. There's match play. Jomez is doing some stuff, so they have a putting competition thing that they're doing tomorrow, where people will have the opportunity to make it on to like the putting games.
Yeah, to like qualify for the putting
pretty
games.
Cool.
Yeah, the putting games was awesome, and like to have, I think that's such a fun idea to give the fans. They get to like kind of be in there. I'm sure like Germ will be there. I don't know if Brian will, but like they'll have people to kind of feel like they're a part of it. And I think I know the Kansas City community is going to be all in. They're going to be all in.
They're doing a Jomez practice round as well, where I think people
spectate
can
it.
Yeah,
nice.
People can come watch, what they think will be cool. It'll be a more casual feel, I'm sure. The other thing going on is the Pro Tour is doing basket testing this week.
That's right. That is. I think it's round 2. I think they did it last year at the Pro Tour Championships.
Okay.
So they did that as a base set of data, and then allowed the manufacturers to make any adjustments based on any information. I think so. I think I've heard this or saw this somewhere. So now it's round 2. Maybe there is some sort of modifications, or they just
and not
baskets.
like round 2 of the tournament, to clarify, right? She means like round 2 of the testing, right? So they have a testing thing going on where they're going to get some of the players to test them out, and they have certain requirements they want you to do and putt from so much distance and all that stuff. So we won't give away all the details there necessarily, but they're doing basket testing.
It's a great opportunity, right? Where everyone's got a complaint of this missed or this didn't catch or this did that, spit out. And then you can really get information from all different types of putters, spin putters, push putters.
Yeah, true.
Little both, turbo.
Yeah,
slam.
Speaking of all different types of putters, right? Yeah, I think your putting certainly got some notoriety or coverage, if you will, from highlighted from the Open at Austin.
Yep.
I know that's kind of taken us way back in disc golf weeks, but do you want to talk at all about putting style? How's it going?
Right on. Yeah.
Just some background for those that all they saw was maybe the DGPT post and haven't heard anything else.
Turbo slam, the waffle, the basketball flip. That is my safe, like comfortable 10-foot and in tap out. Like that's for me. I do have the yips from this really short distance where my arm does not want to release the disc until it's past my head. It's the wildest sensation. Yeah. If you've seen it, you're like, how could you possibly do that? And that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like it's a disconnect. So for me, the slam eliminates any anxiety. I've made the decision immediately. That's what I'm going to do. No decision making, routine based.
Yep.
And so now from 11 to 15 feet, I still have a bit of those yips, and that's kind of hard to slam. I'm not trying to slam from that distance, and now it's just building a routine that my body can feel comfortable with, and I had a lot of success at Nashville. Top teen finish. Yeah.
So made the cut, the unexpected cut.
The unexpected cut, yes.
Yep.
So it's time. It's working mentally through things. I've done a lot of work in the last year and a half. Practice.
Yeah.
It's a game. It's your mind. It's like it'll work its way through, and if it's not linear, progress is not linear. So we'll see dips and valleys, but peaks I've seen already. So.
Yeah, I think once we all get to a certain level of skill-wise, it becomes a mental battle. But I think what maybe people don't consider is that for me personally, the way that I build my mental game is like through confidence, and what builds confidence is competence. And if feel like I'm competent in something and I can do it right, like I always say, like competence breeds confidence for me personally.
That's great.
And so being able to like know for me, it's like being able to fall back on the preparation. And when I step up to a putt, knowing that 2 days ago, I just made 100 of these. Like,
yes.
That helps a lot. So actually, when I shot a really good round during Open at Austin.
Sure did.
And people asked me, what? I even had some of my friends being like, what did you do? Keep doing that. Well, part of what I did, and people don't know this, is I went Tuesday, or not Tuesday, I'm thinking of day 2, the second day of the tournament. Friday, yes. I'm going from corporate world to disc golf world, and it's like my weeks are all set. So Friday after the tournament, I was not happy with my putting at all. And so I went to Harvey Pinnock and hole 4, actually, not for any particular reason. I just found that basket. It was just open.
Okay.
I went and practiced putting for like 2 hours on that basket.
Okay.
Just because I wasn't happy with what was going on, and I had the time. It was windy as all get out. It was very frustrating. Yeah. But I just like kept at it. And even walking away, I didn't feel great. But I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I've done what I can. And the next day, the first big putt I had was on that exact hole.
Right.
And I literally walked up to it thinking, oh, I just did this for like 2 hours yesterday. Like,
no problem.
And I remember on that particular basket, like putting from like, headwind, tailwind, crosswind on each side, how did it feel, where to release, like all these little minor details. And I walked up to that putt just thinking like, oh, just do this.
Right.
And I didn't even really have to think much about it other than like, oh, I just did this. So I think it's a very similar like thing that you're saying, is that it's just you keep doing it, and so people see the turbo putt or the slam putt on a quick post, and they're like, what is that? And you're like, well, this is, I mean, that was not the first tournament you've done that, to my knowledge.
I've done that since Jonesboro of 2024.
Yeah, so you've been doing this for a while, right? And it's working clearly, and you got a teens finish, like you said, in the Music City Open. So, yeah, I think putting in general for the FPO field is where we need to improve most.
100%.
Yes, I think recently, I'm interested in what you think about this, is I saw Nate Perkins, and I'm not picking on Nate Perkins, so I think I talked about something else he said in the past video, so maybe he's just saying thought-provoking things, I don't know.
That's fair.
But he mentioned about the FPO field and how, from his point of view, our meaning the whole field's ability to scramble is where we have the most opportunity to grow.
Oh, okay.
I think it's putting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can look at certain statistics, and like if you are unable to scramble, that probably means you missed a putt, right? Can't both of those things happen?
Be true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, to that detriment, it's the putting that would cause you to not be able to scramble. Not 100% of the time, but like I can see how that would happen. I would say that putting is, well, I know for me, it's what I need to improve on the most.
Yeah, I think for me, when I'm putting well, I'm playing well. And to your point, it's like, it's like kind of like the chicken or the egg sort of thing,
Right.
But like if we just go back to Austin for a second, the first round, if I'd been 100% in the circle, I would have been tied for the lead.
Right.
6 putts.
Yep.
Like, what do you mean I missed 6 putts? If I'd made all of my putts, if I'd gone 100% in the circle for the entire tournament, which is that the standard? Probably not, right? It would be ideal. But like, if we just go extreme, if I'd made all of my C1 putts, I would finish in 5th place.
Wow.
Just from making all my putts.
All your putts. Yeah.
Right? And so I don't think that's so much talking about me and my play, but just like where I think that story would be true for a lot of people. If they'd made all their putts, they could have finished 20 to 30 places higher than they did.
Right. I agree.
And so, anyways, I looked a little bit as a fellow I'm not a math teacher, but like math lover, right?
Math involved.
Yes. I went and looked at the stats. I think it also just was in my head with the Masters this week and all the stats. That's all they talk about when you watch golf. It's like
all it was.
Things that happened on this particular day 20 years ago in this spot. It's like, it's so just overwhelming at times. But anyway, so I went back and looked, and so far this year,
I see it now.
Well, let me pause this and say, I'm usually not a fan of the FPO being compared to the MPO.
Okay. Well,
I don't love the comparison because it's different.
Apples and oranges, but they're both fruit.
Putting, What are your thoughts? I feel like it's not. I mean, what C1 putting? Like we can compare to MPO. That feels fair.
I think it's fair on the Pro Tour level for us to compare.
Yeah.
I've talked to very passionate people about just comparing it flat in general. Like if we were to go to a league where anybody could join, I've talked to many people that would argue there should be a separation.
Interesting.
That there is a discrepancy in those.
Sure.
But is the data a discrepancy because that's where you've looked and gathered it, or is that always true? I don't know.
Yeah,
But I feel that we should be able to at least,
maybe
for the most part,
Pro Tour
compare.
level, yeah.
Because our circles are also usually the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have different baskets, but
like our greens are usually
the green, yes, is usually the same.
Similar, yeah.
Enough.
We usually have more different tees and baskets. So, anyways, if you just accept for a second that like it's a fair comparison, year to date, there's been 17 MPO, averaging 85.
Did you say year to date?
Yeah, sorry. I'm in my corporate world.
Year to date.
2025. I'm getting over a sinus infection, but 2025 year to date. I mean, I just said it again. 2025 season. Stop it, Allie. The 2025 season, there's been 17 MPO that's at like they're averaging 85% better C1X.
C1X.
17 people out of like, they usually have a field of like 100, right? So 17 guys averaging 85% or better. On the FPO side, 1. Deanne Carey, actually.
Yeah, I do.
Shout out to Deanne.
Those PA3s.
She's going to show you what's up, I think, later this week.
Pretty good.
1. That, it feels lopsided. It feels lopsided.
Yep. Even if you take into account the size of our fields.
Yeah.
The percentage, 17 out of 102, 110, and 1 of 40, 1 of 60 even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still certainly feels lopsided.
That's definitely the biggest discrepancy right there.
Yeah. But our fairway hits between divisions are more similar. They're still still skewed a little bit towards higher percentages on the
And I would say
inside,
looking at the fairway hits would be maybe not the best, but I think that's an easy way to look at, like, well, if you hit the fairway, you probably didn't have to scramble.
Yeah, because to your point, like looking at the scramble statistic rate, I really don't know how to interpret it, to be honest.
Yeah.
to be honest, but if you look at the scramble rate, you're almost like kind of double counting. Like you would include whatever putting issues you had.
Right, would be included in that. So I think the scramble rate, right, if your drive lands off fairway, what is your percent? So if that happened 4 out of 18, what is your percentage of getting a par or better on those 4 holes? So if you got 2 pars, 50% scramble rate.
Maybe we just need an entire episode of like philosophical thought about disc golf statistics and graphs and visuals.
I'm actually supposed to do a podcast with Andrew Fish.
Nice.
And you should maybe join. That would be great to have, because I was like getting a little lost in the sauce of those stats because there's so much. And I think
I love it.
You'd be a good
pair,
triplet for that.
Yeah, triplet, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my like other life in the corporate world is definitely like graph data heavy. So I spend a lot of time figuring out how to make pretty graphs to communicate stuff to higher up people that have 5 minutes to look at them.
Which are super important and like they could be more utilized on the Pro Tour.
Agreed.
On the coverage.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I was just recently watching the Masters, as probably most of us was.
Right.
And they had, I'll put it on the screen, but they had a graph that just showed like top 3 players. So it was like Rory, Justin Rose, Bryson DeChambeau, and how the leaderboard between those 3 had changed throughout the round. It looked like a graph that a 5-year-old could put together. Not saying it was bad.
No.
I loved it because it was so simple and it gave us something to look at that sort of like broke up the coverage. And I think what the Disc Golf Network needs is I understand they can't show a shot every second. And even golf doesn't do that, right?
Correct.
Or NBA or whatever, right? NBA, they pan to celebrities on the sidelines. And like, I get it. You need stuff to break it up. Drone shots is like their only go-to right now to like break drone shots. And then They
Or like
usually
leaderboard. And that information isn't necessarily like easy to digest. Like drone coverage is what it is. You're just looking at.
And a lot of times that's not like the story.
No. It's not.
Like I think I would have liked to see, now that I'm thinking about it, like the Silva and Kristen, right? And seeing them throughout their round, or even the
whole tournament.
The whole tournament, yeah, or even the timeline of their careers. So one interesting thing that happened, I guess we can jump into Music City. One interesting thing that happened on coverage for Music City Open, Sarah Hokum was commentating.
Yes.
And who's the other gentleman that does the commentary? Oh, Charlie.
Was it Charlie or Grant?
It was
Grant
Charlie.
was on the ground.
Grant was on the ground. Charlie was in the booth. And Charlie was, and I'm not saying this was wrong, but he was clearly trying to create this narrative of like Kristen versus Silva, but the narrative more specifically that Kristen is like top dog.
Right.
Which is she the best player right now? Sure.
Well, right.
Of course. But he was comparing and basically saying that, Kristen is 16-0 in any tournament she's played against Silva. I think, or it was like 16-1. Like Silva had only finished above Kristen one time, and was throwing out these stats, which I appreciate. But to create this story of like Kristen has always bested Silva, which is true. But Sarah chimed in. I thought this was interesting. Sarah chimed in and sort of challenged it a little bit and said, well, let's think about the timelines here. The first time Silva played against Kristen in the U.S. was actually at Music City Open in 2023, 2 years ago.
2 years.
2023 is also the year that Kristen completed her Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So when you put it into that perspective, it's like, oh man, it's not the same.
No, and it's like saying she beat Silva, but she also beat everyone else.
Right.
The whole season.
Right.
So it does feel very like tunneled to the two of them specifically, which I understand why it would be that way, but it's like.
But being able to dig a little bit deeper and like help the audience like understand maybe the timeline of their careers and like a little bit more to the story with like a visual.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people kind of caught on to that nuance and like what seemed as like a bypassing conversation between the two of them. And not that people couldn't, but I don't know that people are like listening to it that intently. A lot of people are watching it, seeing it in passing. So I'd love to see more visuals and graphs. Pro Tour, if you need help putting some graphs together, I'm your girl. I got you. I think that would be really cool. Our stats need to get better. We're talking about putting and fairway hits, and I still don't have confidence that they're really accurate all the time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So Music City recap, right? We talked about, obviously, Silva comes up short, and if you haven't watched the coverage, it's really good. She had a 3-stroke lead going into the last 2 holes, I believe. She unfortunately came up short, but I think she's just getting started. So I've played with Silva, and she is good, and this is not the last that we're going to see of her, and it's just part of her story. And shout out to Kristen for continuing to fight.
Yeah. It's never over.
It's never over, as you saw proved in 2023.
Exactly.
So the other thing that happened in Music City, which I don't think we're going to get away from addressing this because we were both there and witnessed it. There was a protest that happened at the Music City Open, a protest against transgender athletes playing in the FPO field, specifically male to female transgender transitioning or transitioned athletes playing in the FPO field. And
on hole one.
Hole one. And it happened to be on the card I was on, which I don't know. I don't want to be involved. But if you've seen the video, because it's gotten just like, it's been on national news and all this stuff, everyone's like clapping. And they're clapping for my shot on the tee. And you see me walking off the tee. And then this girl gets up and does what she needs to do on her protest for, whatever it is that she wanted to do. And thankfully we move on with a round. Pretty uneventful. We had security join us around hole 3. I was playing with Natalie. Natalie was on our card, and so she was there and witnessed and experienced the protest that went down as well. And for the most part, the rest of the round was uneventful.
Yeah.
We didn't have any issues, any safety concerns.
Nope.
Anything like that, which I thought was good. The entire weekend I felt safe.
Yep.
So yeah, Allie was teeing off the car behind me, so
Yep.
you were there as well. Do you want
Yeah.
to get a little bit about your perspective?
Yeah, I was just wasn't really expecting it.
No.
Wasn't quite ready.
Caught me completely off guard.
But everyone has the right to do, she has the right to protest. She has the right to do so, and the consequences, that sounds negative. It can be negative or positive, but like the reaction, was handled. The Pro Tour handled it very well, and we were able to continue on with the event. And like I said, no threat, danger.
The one thing I'll say is she got a refund. I learned, according to her, on another podcast, which
I didn't know that.
I thought that was interesting. Because they denied her a refund when she tried to drop out the day before, and I'm not saying that's wrong or right. Just according to her, she asked for a refund. They said no because they wouldn't change her tee time. In the same sentence, almost, she admitted to continuously misgendering Natalie, which, like, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack there, I think, on her stance. But she asked for a refund. They wouldn't give it to her, which is, according to her, why she still showed up to play. And then the safety precautions that she was told were going to be there weren't there. And so
they were there when I showed up 10 minutes later.
Sounded like a according to her, like a last minute things. I'm not going to play this round because they didn't check our bags. They didn't ask for credentials. So
I got asked they weren't going to let me in the parking lot. They asked for my credentials, and I've
so
been on tour for
early, but
this year 3.
So it was kind of like a last minute thing to hear her tell it. But I would like to understand why they say no to a refund, again, right or wrong, but then give her one and take that money out of the purse for the field. Like, is it not a DNF if you...
That's what I was wondering. Is it not a DNF or an 888?
Right. So, again, whatever she said, like, there was no violence involved. Whether she was derogatory in private conversations with the Pro Tour ahead of time, to her own admission, is one thing. She wasn't derogatory on hole 1, right? She made her stance. So, for the most part, no issues with it. I just don't understand why she got a refund.
Agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
That's from her. She said that.
Yeah. She said she got a refund. And if you look at the event, her name's not on there anymore. So it was originally 50 women, and she's not even on there anymore.
So it's not even a DNF then.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Pro Tour handled that, but largely uneventful.
Yeah. It rained a lot.
The weather was
really muddy. A lot of storms. I was in a half bath that's under a stairwell with 2 dogs and 4 people.
Nice.
At 3:30 in the morning.
I called that was the 3:30 in the morning was like the wild part, is because like you kind of want to just like take it as it goes, figure out what you're gonna do, but then when you realize that it's gonna be coming at 3 a.m., I was like, I'm in a camper in the middle of a field. That's not gonna work. So I booked a hotel, but my family lives in Alabama, so I called my brother. His wife, they have a 3-month-old and an 8-year-old, and I called him. I'm like, hey, what are you guys gonna do tonight? He's like, we're going to go to the storm shelter. So where I grew up, it was like all family on the same road. And one of our family members has this storm shelter, a.k.a. these like cinder blocks built into a hill. Like it's nothing special. You couldn't live in there for more than a few hours.
Okay. Not covered? Is it all covered?
It's all covered, yeah. It has like a door, and it's basically just built into the side of a hill.
Yeah.
So he texted me the next day, and he's like, we had to go to the storm shelter. So they went to the storm shelter, which is like this tiny little cinder block thing on the side of a hill with a 3-month-old with like 10 people for like 2 hours. That sounds miserable. So your experience with the dogs and the people, that sounds miserable. My brother's experience, that sounds miserable. Not ideal, but we're all safe. And no real damage to the course or anybody.
Yeah, we were able to get all the rounds in. They just canceled match play, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You imagine if I brought this out and threw it in an event
on hole 1. Okay, we might be in different positions. Something about the camera
still recording.
Temp too hot.
Too hot.
I don't know.
Inside.
Yeah. The first time we're not doing this outside. I don't claim to be like we have these mics and this camera. I don't know how to operate any of it.
Yours is hidden.
That's true. I don't know how to operate any of it. So if there's anyone
than
out
I
there
do.
on tour that just knows a lot about cameras and wants to help us each week
For
while we
free.
do this, like if for free, nobody's paying
Hey,
anybody
Joey,
for
you
this.
want to come? Yeah, do this for free.
But we can certainly hang out for an hour while we do this. So anyways, okay, so Music City.
It was muddy.
Excuse
it was
me.
wet.
Yeah, I think
Silva lost.
if we mention the guys' side real quick, good battle on the men's side as well.
Yeah, everyone was. There was like 6 people that could have won that.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
That leaderboard graphic would have been.
That's true.
That's
That
what
would have
we
been
needed.
good.
Yep.
Nico Santola took it down, right? So the Finnish Cowboy, he coined himself that.
He did.
But to me, the bit's getting old. They just Finnish Cowboy this, Finnish Cowboy that.
But now he's got the guitar with the hat.
So I heard
Grant,
many
yes,
times. Yes.
Sir Grant.
Oh, Grant, yes. You want for those that didn't watch, you want to tell the audience what Grant so graciously talked about at the very end.
Right, so we're at Nashville, talking about right downtown. Everyone goes probably after on Broadway and
Yep.
you know bars and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, like he's got the outfit for the Naked Cowboy. But like that's all he said. And if you didn't know, I guess it's like an old meme of this man who walks around Times Square with like a Speedo, cowboy hat, guitar,
Yeah.
Naked Cowboy. So that is now Nicolas Santola.
It's weird.
But it
is
was
what
really
it is.
strange on coverage with no context to it.
I just was kind of like listening to the last
Was it
part.
Grant or was it Charlie? Because
It was
Grant was on
Grant.
the ground.
No, it was Grant.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Grant. And I like listening to the interviews afterwards of the plays. I don't always watch covers, but when I do, I normally like listening to the. I usually watch the men's coverage, and I like listening to them at the end. But it's usually like I'm no longer usually watching it. Okay, I got too hot again, so
Try
you don't
number
get to
3.
hear anything else. That's it.
Like, comment, subscribe
Yep, and we hope to see you in the next one.
with the champion.
Bye.